I'm Joe, and welcome back to my messy garage. So the next step on my CB1100F engines is I need to check the bore because this cylinder head is 70 millimeters, which is stock, and this one, which I'm going to be using, is 72 millimeters. So I can't use the pistons from this engine. I'm going to have to buy new ones. So I have a bore gauge that I'm going to use just to check these measurements and ensure that everything looks good, because I don't know if this new cylinder head has been used at all. So I have an inexpensive set of bore gauges that I bought off of Amazon. So I need the bore gauge that is between 70 and 72. So this 54 to 90 millimeters is going to work. So these are spring loaded, and there is a little screw at the bottom that will lock or unlock them. So I will put this down into the cylinders. You're supposed to measure in 3 different places, the top, middle, and bottom. And then once I get it at a 90-degree angle, I will lock it, and then I will pull it out and then measure with my calipers. So first thing we should do is clean these cylinders. So I'm just gonna go with cylinder 2. So just using a little bit of carb cleaner. So from the looks of it, pistons were in here at one point. I imagine that the guy who sold me this cylinder head had pistons and did not give them to me. All right, so let's try the bore gauge. So I'm gonna measure up at the top, make sure it's 90 degrees, make sure we're in the middle of the cylinder, and then I'll lock this. And we'll check. We're expecting it to be right around 72. All right, so that's right on. Do this again. So I'll unlock this, push it down. Let's check the middle of the cylinder. Okay, 71.99. And then we will check the bottom. All right, 71.99. So I'll go through, I'll check all the cylinders, make sure they look good. I'll do a little inspection on the cylinder head. And then if I'm confident with this, then I will purchase the new pistons for this, the oversized pistons. That's gonna bore this out from the 1100, right? It's a little bit less than that, to the 1123. So this is the piston kit that I got, the K1123. So inside this kit, they give you a new gasket. So we'll be using this. And then they give you the pistons as well as everything you need in here. So inside the box, got a nice little QR code if you have any questions. You've got the set of piston rings that are also 72 millimeter. And then this comes with instructions. And this explains how to set your gap properly, and then how to install the rings. So it shows you for the different types of applications, right? Whether you're high performance, whether you're running supercharger, nitrous, things like that. All these measurements are in inches, and then it gives you instructions for how to convert over to metric, which we'll do. And then it has instructions on how you set up the rings on the pistons. And then if you do have to sand down, it walks you through what they should look like, right? Good and bad examples. So this is a nice little sheet that they give you. Now there's one other sheet in here as well, and this is installation instructions for the piston itself. Right, so this talks about what to do if you have sleeve cylinders. They tell you what to do if you have plated cylinders. They walk you through cleaning instructions, and then for some of the 2-cycle engines, they have some instructions as well. Now also inside, they have a new wrist pin that we'll use. This is what secures the piston inside of the connecting rod. They give us some stickers if we want to put these on our laptops. And then they give us in a nice little bag our piston. So what's also in this bag is these circlips that go on either side of the wrist pin once it's inserted to hold the piston on so that the wrist pin doesn't fall out. And then the piston itself has a sticker, which we'll have to use some brake lean to remove. And they have an arrow for how you're supposed to install this. So this arrow points to the exhaust, also the front of the bike. So nice little kit. Let's compare this to what the stock piston looks like. So on the left, we have the stock piston. So stock, this is 70 millimeters. And then on the right, we have the aftermarket forged piston, and this is 72 millimeters. So you can see the shape of the top, right? You get a little more of a dome with the forged piston. All of the rings positions are pretty close. And then you can see if we line up the tops of each of these pistons, so you can see the aftermarket piston is a little bit shorter. And then here's a view from the side from where you insert the wrist pin. So you can see these oil holes are a little bit bigger and they're in a couple different locations. Now before we do anything with this piston, we have to get this sticker off, which is a tedious process because this does not come off well. So if you remove the sticker slowly, it does take the majority of the adhesive off. We'll try and remove the rest with our nail. And then to get off the rest of this residue, we'll use a little bit of brake cleaner. There we go, and that works well. So we'll do this with the rest of the pistons to get them all set up. All right, next step is we need to check the piston ring gap when they're inside of the cylinders. So this has to be right. My hope is that the piston rings are not too large for each one of these cylinders, right? I don't know the shop that bored out this head, so I'm hoping that we got everything correct. I'm hoping that they did this to a standard size. So let's check. Now, in order to calculate the ring gap, right, they've got instructions down here where you take the bore size and then you can divide it by 25.4 to get millimeters. So that's 72 divided by 25.4. And then we're going to multiply that by 0.0045. We're going to use this high performance street strip. So that's for the top ring, and then for the second ring, it's this 0.0055. Those we have to convert over to millimeters as well in order to do this calculation. So that means we need, for the top ring, we need 0.33 millimeters minimum. For the second ring, we need 0.40 millimeters. And then for the oil rings, we need a 0.25 millimeter gap. So we'll check each one of those on this engine and make sure they look good. And something to note that the second ring, the gap needs to be a little bit bigger than the top ring. And the reason for this is so that it helps reduce the top ring flutter or lifting. So let's start with number one. So I'm going to take this top ring, which is this chrome plated one. I'm going to find the letter because the letter is the top. And then we'll put this inside of the cylinder. And then we'll use the piston to push it down. Make sure we're good all the way around. And then we'll measure. So this needs to be bigger than 0.33. All right, and that does fit in there nicely. Let's check what the max is. So I'll try a 0.45. That still fits in there. Let's try 0.6. All right, so it's smaller than 0.6. Let's see, let's try 0.5. All right, so it looks like it's under 0.5 as well. So this ring is in a good spot. Pull this out. Let's check the second ring. Okay, again, this letter faces up. This gap needs to be at minimum bigger than 0.4 millimeters. Again, we'll take the piston, push that down. There's 0.4. Okay, it is bigger than 0.4. Let's see what the biggest is. Let's try 0.6. All right, so it's smaller than 0.6. All right, bigger than 0.5. So it's probably 0.55. So this is good news. So our pistons are the right size. The piston rings are the right size. We don't have to make any modifications to those. And then we'll check these oil rings. These need to be bigger than 0.25. Let's just check with 0.3. Yep, 0.3. What if we did 0.35? It's bigger than 0.35. And then 0.4. Let's see, 0.5. All right, so it's smaller than 0.5. We'll check the other oil ring. All right, cylinder 1 is good. Move on and do the rest of the cylinders. All right, so great news. All of the rings are within spec. I don't have to make any modifications to them. They're all above the minimums. Next is we need to get the rings on each one of the pistons. So the first one is the oil ring expander. And this, you need to make sure that the two ends are pointing up. So I'll put this one on by hand, and this goes into this bottom groove right there. Make sure that they are not overlapping. They are pointing up. I'll align them right with the arrow. Next, we're going to take one of the oil rails, and this is where the opening is for the oil ring expander. So on the opposite side, but 45 degrees off, is where I want this one. So I'm just going to use my hands for this one. So this will be the bottom ring. So I'll get this set up right there. Very gentle. Don't overexpand the ring. Just enough so that you can get it installed, and then I'm going to lift it up. Make sure that we can get it to seat right below. Great. And then we'll get the other oil rail, and we want the opening here, and we want this one top of the oil ring expander. Do here. Again, don't overextend these rings. Mm-hmm. And then we'll drop it in right there. So to get this aligned, I'm going to move this right here and here. These should be at least 90 degrees from each other. Oil ring expander gap. We've got oil rail gap here and oil rail gap here. So next one, which is the thickest ring, needs to go on. So this is the second ring, and this letter needs to be facing up. And then we will align it even with this wrist pin. So we'll use a ring clamp for this one because this one can easily scrape the piston. So again, open up the ring just enough to get it around the piston. Make sure it's seated where it's supposed to be. And then you can release like that. And then I'm going to turn it over 180 degrees and install the top ring with the letter facing up. And again, just enough to get it over. Make sure it falls into the correct spot, just like that. So I'll repeat the steps for the other pistons. Now I should have measured the pistons before I did this, but I just want to make sure that all the pistons are the same weight. So 240 grams, 240 grams, 240 grams, and 240 grams. All right, we're good on weights. And just for reference, I weighed the stock pistons with the rings on it, and those are 217 grams. So about 23 grams heavier are the forged pistons. All right, next I'm going to install the pistons onto the connecting rods. I'm gonna start with number 2, and I'm just using a shop rag sort of as a blanket so that none of these parts drop into the engine. So I've got piston number 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to install this circlip in here, and then I'll be able to sit this down and then install the connecting rod. So this arrow is gonna be facing forward. These clips are a bit thicker than what stock are, so it does require more force to get them on. So I'm gonna have them pointing down. And what has worked for me is just using a screwdriver to work it down while I'm pushing in. You also have to be careful you don't break any of the piston rings while you're doing this. But wear the safety goggles and then try and push this down and push in at the same time. We're trying to get this to seat, and you're really supposed to be trying not to mar up this piston, but I don't know how that's possible. So I'm pushing down while this comes in, and then I'll use this to push it in so it seats like that. So then I need to put a little bit of grease on both ends of these wrist clips. We'll run grease on the inside of this connecting rod as well. And then I'll put the piston with the arrow in front, and then we'll get this pushed in like that. Clean the grease off this side. And then we need to get the circlip in there. Get this set up like this. Rock this in a bit. And I'm holding one end while I'm using a screwdriver to get this other end in. Just like that. All right, I'll do the rest of the pistons now. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to get notifications when I release new videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Take care.